Stranger Things 4 Part 2 released this month, and I gotta say, most of it was a pretty bitchin'. And from what I've seen, everyone seems like they're a fan of this season as much as they are a fan of the new villain, Vecna. And I gotta say, I could not disagree more. Vecna does not work for me, and here's why. Quick disclaimer, spoilers for Part 2, okay? Alright. Now, actually, as Part 1 progressed and Vecna became more and more of a threat, I actually thought he was a pretty decent addition to the villain roster. My problem really began with Eleven's amnesia. Amnesia in a movie or TV show is one of the laziest ways to either plug in plot holes or dish out exposition without needing to show anything. Since Vecna is only showing up in Season 4, we need some sort of connection to the past that makes his appearance more believable, because we have next to no clues that he even existed in the first place, let alone being the sole person behind all of the supernatural end of the world jargon happening in Hawkins. So to give us a connection between Eleven and Vecna, Vecna is also one, and Eleven actually knew him, but forgot about him because she was too traumatized. I mean, seeing a bunch of dead children immediately after they were murdered is traumatizing for sure, but she beat Vecna. It was a victory for her, and victory is important to Eleven. She likes showcasing how strong she can be, and this was, at the time, her strongest showcase. But why hasn't she forgotten about all the other traumatizing things that have happened to her? Bloody murder, direct contact with interdimensional monsters, and years of basically prison ring a bell at all? You remember that? She remembers all of it, but can't remember Vecna? I'm telling you, 99 times out of 10, amnesia just does not work. And yes, I said 99 times out of 10. That's how much it doesn't work. Eleven beat Vecna when she was just a little wee Girl Scout getting to know her powers. You could argue that Vecna has gotten stronger from this time in the Upside Down, but there's nothing that shows us any of that actually happened. Before the Part 2 finale even started, Vecna had already been beaten twice, once by Eleven and once by Max. Why should we be scared of him when he just keeps losing? It's only until he very nearly kills Max that I actually felt his presence as a threat to our characters. And even then, Eleven turns into Jesus and resurrects Max from the dead. And since the writers want to sell the idea that Vecna has been behind everything the whole time, it gets even worse. So in seasons 2 and 3, Vecna was actually the Mind Flayer the whole time then, right? So each time they beat the Mind Flayer, they actually beat Vecna? Has this man ever taken a W? Really, I don't get it. Like, maybe if he killed Max, he would actually feel like a true force, but instead, we now know Eleven can just resurrect people if things go south. So, like, where's the danger here? I've already mentioned the fact that Vecna was the Mind Flayer the whole time. This almost completely demystifies the Mind Flayer as a villain. I liked the Mind Flayer because he felt like a force of nature. He wasn't a person or even an animal. He's like gravity. He exists solely to serve a single purpose. You can fight gravity and even deny gravity, but unless you cause some cosmic catastrophic event, you can't get rid of it completely. And that's what I thought it would take to beat the Mind Flayer, nothing short of catastrophe. But no, actually it's just this guy with an agenda. Oh, and he likes spiders. Like, what? This brings me to my next point. His half-assed childhood backstory is so uncompelling. He's just a basic psychopath that somehow taught himself to have psychic powers. He claims his life at home wasn't as perfect as it seemed, but we never saw any of that. He's just generally angry at the world for its rules and structure, and he dreams of being an apex predator. They reduced Vecna to a naive, psychotic child. Like, he's literally just an idiot. Imagine if he didn't have psychic powers. He would just be an idiot. What I think the writers were trying to do was make Vecna the anti-Eleven, basically just the dark side version, but it doesn't quite work the way they tried to do it. All they needed to do was give Vecna this exact same treatment as Eleven. Now, hear me out on this. If they made Vecna just like Eleven, extremely likable, gets brutally bullied, a sweet and innocent child, emotionally traumatized, we would understand why he is the way he is. We've seen all the horrible things that have happened to Eleven. And let's be honest, we all wanted revenge on the people that wronged her. If they had done the same to Vecna, it would solidify him as the polar opposite of Eleven. The same backstory, but different paths. the superhero and the supervillain. But Vecna/Henry/1 was sent to Brenner because he was actually sick in the head. Like, he actually needed help. He was a danger to society, and he had no issue killing his whole family, which is not how you build a likable character. Could you imagine in season 1 if Mike, Dustin, and Lucas did everything they could to help Eleven, but then she just killed them all? And again, if Henry's life wasn't peaches and cream, you gotta show us what he went through in detail, not just getting electrocuted by a shocky stick. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is the perfect example of what I believe Vecna should have been, showing an ill-fated recipe of social injustice and poor mental health. But instead, in Stranger Things, we get none of that, just an unlikable psycho kid with no reason to be psycho. Thanks. Love that. It actually baffles me just how accepted Vecna has been received by the fan base. And if you like Vecna, that's totally fine, but Vecna just doesn't work for me. I love when Vecna's ass just gets kicked in the show literally because I just don't like him as a character. I hope season 5 can truly bring the show to life for its final chapter, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get the reveal that Vecna was just the Mind Flayer's pawn the whole time. Come on, don't lie, that'd be pretty cool. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and dropping a like on it. It means a lot to me. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.